feel like it's one of our key areas for success in the future, and we are continuing to build out our programs and our solutions to make sure that we meet your needs. Couple key things that I hope I highlight today as we go through this process, and those are, number one, connected organization. One of the things that I think has become so important with these solutions as we've moved along is the ability to make sure that all of the appropriate people within the organization are connected with either the ability to enter or manage data, also that information goes through the proper workflow process so that individuals such as approval processes on requisitions, as an example, are covered, and make sure that the people that need to be involved, regardless of whether they're a part of your accounting system or not, have that capability. Also, mobility, as you probably know, mobility has become a huge part of where the industry is going and where the solutions are going. And I want to make sure that you have a really good idea of what your options are. Today, I'm going to be doing a presentation of a sales tool that allows your sales team to enter orders through an iPad. Yes, an iPad, an Apple iPad, integrating to your Dynamics GP solution from Microsoft. Also, Associates has developed and is developing more applications for alerts so that the appropriate people within your organization have visibility into the information that is most important to them. And not only do they have that visibility, but they have that visibility in the appropriate manner. So if it's someone who's traveling, if it's an executive who needs a dashboard, whatever that may be, we want to make sure that the solution provides that type of information and that type of visibility to them appropriately. So we are very dedicated to that end. So what I'm going to show you today, a couple things. Number one, mobile sales order processing. And this is really important in regards to my ability to have a remote sales team that can actually be sitting at a client site and have the ability to take an order from a customer or enter a quote and then take an order and have that information flow directly into Dynamics GP. Also, we'll talk about sales order processing workflow. So as you know, there is a series of events that happens from the time that you enter a quote to the time that you deliver product, and we want to make sure that you see some easy and convenient ways of doing that. We'll talk a little bit about requisitioning. We're not going to go through the whole flow, but requisitioning has become a topic that affects distribution organizations as much as any in regards to being able to go through an approval process for the purchase of goods and materials. We will also talk a little bit about purchase order automation in regards to having the system help you make smart purchases. And then at the end of the day, what we'll talk about is business analytics, including the Associates 2020 distribution options that are available. So, with no more PowerPoint to discuss, we're going to actually now go out and spend a little time with Dynamics GP. So bear with me just a moment. Okay. So we'll start off with Dynamics GP. I'm going to close that down for just a moment, and I am going to now work with my remote solution that I was telling you about. So just need to connect that up. All right. So hopefully you all see a tool that we call SalesPad Mobile that is a part of the Associates Distribution Solution Set. I am actually going to log into this solution and show you what its capabilities are in regards to remote sales transactions. So what you'll see in front of you is an interface in SalesPad that provides you with access to customers, contacts, inventory. You also can look at sales documents and have a sales monitor, and we'll talk about each one of these. Also, you'll notice that there is a menu here that we can actually go in and navigate between them. We can actually then enter transactions, and we can also, one thing that's really important that you may notice down here at the bottom is we actually have the ability to go offline. There are going to be times where you may be working in an environment where you do not have connectivity, in which case this product will allow you to actually work offline, and then when you get back to a place of connection, you'll actually be able to then sync up your data, and it will immediately then update Dynamics GP. We actually have a number of clients. We have a client in Columbus here that has a remote sales team. They actually have routes that they go on, and they visit with clients on a daily basis. And this tool will work really well for them in regards to being able to go out to the client, talk to the client, help them make good determinations on what product they need, and then actually be able to place those orders as they go. In the past, their process was they would basically fill out on a piece of paper the client's order. They would fax it in at night when they got back home to their house, and then the order would be entered manually into Dynamics GP. This will actually eliminate that process completely. So I'm just going to show you a few of the steps. First of all, I can start with a customer, and I actually have the ability to enter the customer's ID, but I can also look them up. So you can see here that I type in a portion of the name, and it'll bring me up the customer that is appropriate, or a list of customers that I can select from. In this case, I'm entering an order to Aaron Fitz Electrical. And again, this is all happening on my iPad. So at this point, you can see that I have access to information, billing, and shipping address for the customer, and this information comes directly out of Dynamics GP. You can see that there's a salesperson assigned, the pricing levels, all of that information that you may be used to using in Dynamics GP. I have the ability from here to then create an order, and there are different order types in Dynamics GP, and this mimics that. If the customer has issued you a purchase order, you actually have the ability to enter that in. And then also the requested ship date. Now, I'm going to switch this to 2017 because my demo data in GP resides in 2017. But you can see here things like payment terms, shipping method, the salesperson, all of that information that would normally be assigned to a transaction can be updated right here in this solution. All right, so now I have the ability to go back into the order. I can change the document date as well, and this is something that I just have to do because of my demo data being in 2017. I can accept that. And so now what I have is an order header that you might be used to seeing in sales order processing. From here, I have the ability to add an item. And if I know what that item is, say it's an accessory item, I can actually look it up in my inventory, and I'll actually get complete access to my items in inventory. There we go. And so you can see that I have a lookup. I basically have a list of all of the items that I have. But what's nice about this and significant is I can be out on site visiting with a client. I can be at my home office and basically enter transactions, do inquiries on quantities on hand, and so forth from the comfort of my car, my home, etc. So I can select the item that I want. I can enter a quantity. that 10, and then I can accept that. So basically what I've done at this point is I have entered an order. So pretty simple and easy for us to maintain. A couple other key points here is that you actually can see the total for the order. You also can see the gross margin. So this tool actually gives you some additional information that you may not get as you're working in Dynamics GP on a regular basis. Now, obviously, this gross margin is the margin based upon if that were to be fulfilled immediately, because it does look at your inventory valuation methods and determining the cost layers that you have defined in inventory. I do have also some additional functionality. So as an example, you'll notice here on the screen I have an option called Add Recent. What Add Recent allows me to do is it allows me to take an order that I may have had recently and add the items from that order. So it does give me some flexibility in repeating orders. If a customer happens to say to you, hey, I want to order what I ordered last time. So that functionality exists. Another thing that's important to note is down here at the bottom, you'll notice that you have an AR button. So I can hit that, and it'll actually show me information about this individual customer's balance, their last invoice, their last statement, etc. So all of that information is right at your fingertips. And so hopefully you can see that this is a very useful tool. I think I took us a bad direction here, so I want to go back in and I want to add that item back. I think I happened to go a bad direction. So let me go back. And I'm going to create that order one more time. I apologize for that. So we're going to make that 2017. Save it. All right. And then we'll make that date the same. Accept that. We'll add our item back. We'll do our lookup. And we'll pick our item again. Put in our quantity of 10. And we'll accept that. All right, so at this point what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and save this order. And again, I could enter as many items on this order as I see it fit. All right. So at this point then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go back and I'm going to work in the solution at hand here. I can go in and do a customer search, and I can bring up that customer. What you're going to notice is that I have an order that is order 2257. All right, and it is a pending order. Let me. Sorry, I pulled the wrong one there. Best laid plans. Okay. I may have picked the wrong order here. Let me make sure I got everything I'm supposed to have. Well, I apologize. That didn't come across. The header is all there, but the bottom is not. So I'll go ahead and add that item, and we'll just move on because I want to show you the workflow functionality as well. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add a new item. And we'll pick our item. You'll notice here that we can then enter our quantities. It's the same item I had before. You'll notice then that it basically allows me to have this item set in a pending order function here. One thing that's really nice about this is that I actually have the ability to, again, have the margin. I have the ability to print from here. I can print a picking ticket. I'll save that. And you can see here that I can print a picking ticket. I can also email this picking ticket if I choose to. You'll notice that I have a sales document mass update, and that information can work as well. And so you can do 100 new orders at a time, print picking tickets for all of them, and send them to the warehouse via email. So that is one function that actually exists as well. So you'll notice over here we have a release option. So we'll release that. And notice that this item says ready to pick because we basically turned this order into, we moved it through the workflow. At this point then, if I bring the order back up, and if at this point we have, we can release it again. At this point we can pack it. So I can print a packing slip. And there's our packing slip. And then I can close that process. And the document is then moved to the shipping queue. So you'll notice that the system is automatically, based upon the workflow that we do, is pushing it into a new batch. Now I've moved from a new order to a released order, ready to pick, to a shipping order. At that point, once I've shipped it, then I have the ability to complete that process. And what it'll do is it'll actually move it into a shipped mode at that point. So it actually walks me completely through the process from order to invoice. So this kind of workflow I'm showing you on a single invoice or a single transaction could be done through a sales mass update, which will move all of the transactions that qualify through the process. But I wanted to just kind of give you an idea that we can actually take an individual order from a remote salesperson sitting at a client site, taking the order, immediately feeding the order into your Dynamics solution, and then from there you can fulfill it through a workflow process, either in one-by-ones or depending on your volume, you can do it 100 at a time or 1,000 at a time. So the idea is that this really can follow through your fulfillment process very, very easily. And I just wanted to remind you as we walk through this, feel free if you have any questions. And so based upon what we've looked at so far, I guess, Cindy, do we have any questions so far?
No, not at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Not yet.
Okay, good. All right. So keeping in the mode of workflow, what I wanted to do next is actually talk a little bit about what we call requisitions. And I'm just going to show you this solution real quickly. Many of our clients actually go through a requisition process, and then that requisition process can allow you to then get approvals on the purchases as you go through the process. A lot of this depends on how you handle this and who's involved in the process. If someone from the warehouse is saying, hey, we need to order this, they can send it through a requisition, and then the purchasing team can, or the appropriate warehouse manager can approve it. The purchasing team can then buy it if that's appropriate. So there are a variety of different ways that this can work. It also can work based upon you know, turning a requisition through for office supplies or any kind of item within your organization. So we find this, especially in distribution organizations, to be a multifaceted approach. So I did want to show you a couple things. So first of all, there is what's called a routing policy. And so I'll show you just real quickly one of the routing policies that are created. So these could be as simple or as complex as you need them to be. So you can see here that when someone places a requisition, you can require managerial approval. Also, if you're a project-driven organization, you might get project approval. Also, we've seen a lot of our organizations that if they're purchasing items that are of a specific type, that it might require a manager, like an IT manager, to approve if it's a technology product. Or in your organization, there may be certain product managers that are in charge of requisitioning or approving the purchase of certain items within a certain group of products. So ultimately then, what can happen is that each of these individual requisitions can go through an appropriate routing policy so that when an individual enters a requisition, their screen can look like this. They can actually create a new requisition. The system will then ask them for the appropriate data. So I might be ordering widgets to restock. And my date, I'll make that 05-15-217. And then I can actually have this default in the routing policy that's appropriate. Oops. Thought I selected that. There we go. And you know, depending on how this works, you may actually already know the vendor. If you do, then that can be selected. This can actually even be hidden on certain users' screens so that they don't see the vendor, they don't see the price, they don't see any of that kind of thing. And so then you can save this information. Or, more likely, you can submit it, and then it will actually submit the requisition through. So the idea is that you can attach notes, drawings, you know, all of the notes for the buyer, notes for the vendor, and so as this process goes through, the appropriate information can be passed to the appropriate individuals. Okay. All right. So that's requisitioning. So the next thing that we wanted to talk about really was more revolving around business intelligence, business analytics, and really then also knowing what you have and when you need to buy. And so I wanted to make sure that you were aware of a lot of some other tools that are available to you. So as an example, we have business analytics that might refer to inventory turns. And this can be defined in a variety of different ways. So I just wanted to show you a few examples. So here in the inventory turnover, I have some, I'm using what's called the business analyzer. So the business analyzer allows me to actually see metrics that I feel are appropriate. So I can see here inventory turnover versus last period versus this period last year. I can also see it in this year period by period, so I can actually compare with last year. The reason I wanted to talk about the business analyzer with distribution is because these kind of metrics can be made available to you as a GP user. So if I log into GP, this can actually show up on my dashboard here on my home page. But I also have the ability to show the business analyzer in a standalone app where it's a dashboard for either an executive, a purchasing manager, a warehouse manager, etc. So these kind of pieces of information can be defined as you see fit. And so this kind of gets back to the whole concept of making data available for everyone in a form that makes most sense. So the Business Analyzer will also be available on an iPhone, and not in the not too distant future, it will also be available on an Android. It's already available if you have a Microsoft phone or a Microsoft tablet. So the Business Analyzer functionality can be something you carry with you. It can be something that you have on your laptop or desktop, even if you're not an individual users of Dynamic GP, or it can be built into your home page or into your Dynamics GP if you're a user within the system. So again, mobility comes into play here, also available in your desktop, certainly available as a dashboard, and you can use that information as you need. So this allows you to make smarter decisions more quickly, more easily, and certainly allows you to be on top of the inventory turns and the inventory information that's important to you. Another thing that a lot of our Dynamics GP users don't take advantage of that we feel they should is the ability to take advantage of what are called Excel reports. And so we have a number of Excel reports that are built into the system. These reports are refreshable, so each time that you open the report, it will have up-to-date data. So as an example, we may have item quantities that are below reorder or order point. And this report actually is available either within or outside of Dynamics GP. It can be output in a pivot table. So I actually have the ability to make choices on this information as I need to. So I can actually tell the system what information I would like. So I can filter on quantities, I can filter on descriptions, I can filter on groups of items, so that it allows me to take full advantage of the information that I need. So you can see here that each of these items will show me my quantity available, my order point quantity, my quantity on order. Another nice way of being able to know more about where my inventory resides and how much I have. So Excel is a tool that most everyone uses and is certainly a familiar interface for people. Also can be used in as a inside of GP, can be produced out of GP or inside of GP. Also, we have a number of what we call reporting services reports. And so you can see here, for instance, I have the inventory turnover detail. I can see purchase advice report as an example. And these reports are published in what's called SQL reporting services, just like the Business Analyzer. So what this allows us to do is via a web browser or launched within GP, have information about the items within our inventory. So at this point, this is all about you defining what kind of information is most important to you. So you can see here that I can pick my warehouse location, and in this case I have many of them. I can then, so in this case I just want to look at my main warehouse. I can pick a group of items. I can pick a group of vendors, any user categories that I have set up, and then also how do I want to sort this. So I can sort it by item number, description, generic description, etc. So I can then basically output this report. And what's nice about using SQL reporting service, unfortunately I don't have good data here, I made a bad selection, but it'll show you each item, the description, how many you have on hand, how many are allocated, how many are the available quantity to order, back ordered, etc. And this actually, all SQL reporting services reports can then be output to Excel or to a PDF and again, can be accessed via the web or it can be accessed within GP. So another example of tools that are available to you that can be very, very, very useful to you, helping you make good decisions on stocking levels and so forth, saving you cost, saving you time. We'll close that tab and we'll minimize that. One other thing that I wanted to talk about around purchasing is many people don't take advantage of the fact that they have what's called the PO generator. And I'm just going to talk about this for a moment. What this allows you to do is if you're a distributor and you have inventory items if you track your order points, you actually have the ability to have the system auto-generate suggested purchase orders. So if I were to go through here and select a date, cutoff date, promise dates, and then click suggested purchase orders, this will actually allow me to produce suggested purchase orders that can then be turned into purchase orders. So it'll look at your primary vendor. It will look at your the items. It allows you to combine purchase orders on items that come from a single vendor, etc. Now, this does not work as if an MRP system does, but because it doesn't take lead time considerations in the consideration, but it basically does allow you, based upon reorder points, to automatically generate purchase orders for those items that you need to order. All right, I'm going to pause for another moment and see if anyone has any questions on anything that we've looked at and if I need to elaborate on anything.
Not so far.
Not so far?
Nope.
All right. All right, so my last topic is what we call 2020 alerts. And so I'm going to talk about these, and I wanted to really kind of get into what 2020 alerts are and what's available today and what will be available. So first of all, 2020 alerts are Socius-developed mobile apps. So today they are for Microsoft phones and tablets. In the future, we're looking at options for iPhones, etc. So, but the idea here is that we want to make sure, again, that you can get alert information sent directly to you, to your tablet, to your phone, based upon different criteria. So, as an example, what's available today is we have an alert that's called items below safe stock level. And we have another one that is called damaged items. These two 2020 alerts from Socius provide you with information that goes directly to your phone or to your tablet. I'm going to give you a quick look. Just a moment. We'll bring this up. So what 2020 alerts looks like is you can see here on this phone, there's a 2020 alert tab. When you click on that, you'll actually then get an alert that, in this case, is the item is below safe stock. But this will automatically, when you click on this, will automatically bring these alerts up. And it will list, in this case, it will, and I know this is hard to see, but it will list out the items that are below that safe level. So you can see that we have a brochure that we'll be glad to send to you if this is good for you. So then from there, when you click on that item, then it will actually bring up the item. It will actually even allow you to create an order, a purchase order from here, and ultimately it walks you through the process of then creating a PO in GP. So the 2020 alert, this stock level alert was the first one that we worked on to make available to our clients. But you can see that this is an example of how you can be anywhere. You can be a warehouse manager walking through the warehouse and have your phone on with you, and basically you can get these alerts as they come out. And or you can be someone that's responsible in purchasing and can get these alerts. So these can be distributed as is appropriate within your organization. Now, what I wanted to talk about beyond that is there are a variety of ideas that and where we're heading with this. So you can see here that we're going to, for instance, around the inventory, we're going to create alerts around managing item catalogs, if you have that need, managing quantities, managing warehouse locations, pricing by location, receiving, being able to do receiving on your mobile unit, capturing serial and lot expirations. So if you have any kind of lot tracked or serial numbered items, especially around food products and so forth, then it does allow you to then get alerts when those are about to expire. On the shipping side, we're looking at options around rate shopping, managing picking and packing, creating picking tickets and packing slips, creating manifests, managing back orders, so you can see that there's a variety of things. And even on the selling side around e-commerce, web orders, EDI orders, etc. So we have a variety of ideas and would love to hear from you in regards to any feedback you have in regards to this. Notice that we're also even looking at managing requisitions, approvals, PO confirmations, and so forth. So again, your feedback would be very vital to us in regards to making sure we prioritize these in a way that makes most sense. So again, I think that was the majority of the content that I wanted to cover. We had a short period of time. I'm going to give you an extra 15 minutes back, or certainly 15 minutes worth of time to ask questions. I want to go back to our original key concepts. Hopefully you were able to see how we're looking at things from a connected organization, how we're trying to build workflow functionality into our solutions, and we are working very hard to make sure that organizations have the tools to handle this. We also know mobility is a really important key for the future, as people are able to have more freedom in getting things done, getting alerts to their phone, and then also obviously around business intelligence and being able to provide visibility to the data that's most important to them. So Cindy, I guess I'll open it up to any questions that people may have.
No, we still have no questions at this time.
Okay.
So if you do have questions, you can type them in the questions box, and we'll be sure to answer those for you. I don't know if we want to give them a couple minutes or.
Sure.
Well, Jeff, it doesn't look like we have any questions. If you do, we want to thank you again for your time today. If you do have questions, please reach out to myself or Jeff or even your account manager. We'd be more than happy to get your questions answered for you.
Right. And you can reach Cindy or myself at the email or the phone number listed above.
Yeah.
I know there will be opportunities. We will continue to work through these solutions. We will probably do